Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Welcome to a surprising episode 14 of the Managersim Phoenix series. It's a surprise because I didn't think I was actually going to make an episode 14. But this will be the final episode of any Managersim series for quite a while. I am taking a well-deserved break from doing these episodes, but I will go into that more later. But yes, it is sad, but these things happen. We'll quickly just go through what the game is in its current state in this final episode. There'll be no Youth Academy top 10 list. We're not doing that today because I want to concentrate on other things that are going on in the game. But let's just quickly tell you what's been going on in the leagues at the moment. This game always features the Lord Donut account, which will still stay active, by the way. It will still carry on because even though this is my final episode for quite a while, it's not going to be the last ever episode. We will come back and do some special episodes maybe when I feel more like it. This is the Dynamo Tbilisi account where Lord Donut is, and things are going very well for DT, as I call them. We are currently top of the Georgian League. We're making plenty of money. We're actually in the Champions League. And we managed to get to the group stages of the Champions League, which was probably our best achievement. We were in a particularly easy-ish group, but even in Group A, that's where we are losing nearly all the time. But again, I didn't expect us to get this far. We actually got through 2 qualifying rounds to get this far, so it's an almighty achievement for this Georgian side, who are, compared to a lot of other human sides, are pretty weak. But we are gaining a lot of money, which is going to help us greatly because I'm going to invest the money into other things, other plans. So that's the DT site. And just for my reference, when I come back and do episode 15, whenever that will happen, I can look and compare what my side looks like. As you notice, this goes for every side in the Managersim game. We have got a new colour sort of like chart here on the right hand side. I will explain that later. Burnham has made a lot of changes since the last episode, hence why we've had kind of like a 2-week gap. Also because he was changing the game over to the server, which touchwood seems more stable now. But he has made some major changes to the game. Personally, I think he's made too many changes in such a short time, and I believe quite a few managers actually believe the same as me. But again, he wants to progress the game, so it's completely up to him. So here is the Tbilisi side at the moment, and we've got some good players coming who are taking part in our side. And we seem to be doing all right. The table for us is that we're currently top of the table, 13 points clear. I'm hoping to build on this side and stay with this side for as long as I can. One of those changes we can also mention straight away, because I don't think it's actually mentioned much elsewhere except for the odd Facebook post, is that there's unlimited amount of players you can have in your first team now. If you remember, before this happened, if you had certain like defensive midfield, attacking, or goalies up to a certain amount of number for any on the field, that's 8, and goalies I think it was 4 or something. If you have more than that, you'll get board warnings, and the board tells you too many players playing in this position, too many players playing in that position. You might have noticed that has now gone. Basically, you can have unlimited players in any position, but the problem is the bigger the squad is, the more it is linked with these colours here. Basically, white means the 100% no player skill deletion or whatever it's called. Orange means borderline. Red means they're in trouble. Red means that they won't skillfully go up as they should be going up because they're not playing as many games as they should be playing. One way around that, of course, is loaning these players to other sides, but as many people are pointing out, us human managers, we're having problems loaning players out because basically no one wants them. I'm getting occasionally a few AI clubs coming for loanies, so that's good. But a lot of these people who've got, say, duplicate accounts will just loan them over to their duplicate account and let them play there. Fair enough, you can do that. I suppose there's a limit of players you can loan over there from your one side to the other side, but it does happen in real life. A lot of players are, especially in games like Football Manager, they are loaned out to their feeder club, or if it's a feeder club, they're loaned out to their senior club if they're really good. It can go both directions, and they gain experience, and that's what I'm guessing many people are going to do now, because AIs are simply not making enough loan bids to players, because the way the game has been made, the AI sides look at players to buy rather than loan. But I am getting some loan bids, so that is good. That's a good sign. So we'll quickly go to the other leagues to see how that's getting on, so everyone can make a note of where you are until we do the next episode. In England, Fritz at AFC Bournemouth is having an ongoing battle with Morton at Man City, with Mike at Man United third. This is going to be a very interesting league to see how this ends up. Fritz, of course, won the Premier League last year, and he's trying to win it this time. But he's trying to get to his. I can always remember this. He said he's going to take AFC Bournemouth and win the Champions League. He didn't do it last year, but this year he is actually. He's in a really difficult group actually, with Morton at Man City is in the same group. Napoli, tough side, and PSG, all tough sides. So that's going to be interesting to see who finishes that group. But we will find out probably whenever I feel like doing another part. So Mike's Man United third, Liverpool I think is K, yeah, K's fourth, and then fifth we've got Heikel. So it's a really competitive league in England. It's probably the toughest of the lot. So that's probably one way I'm not going into England ever. Championship, as we've predicted, Wigan, who are too good for League One or the Championship, are really doing really well in the Championship. Only one game lost out of 18. Wolverhampton having a very good start. Mohamed again. Then we've got Leeds, Birmingham, Bolton, Fulham, and my dear old Oxford side are doing really well. Glad to see Dave's doing a great job there. Currently in 7th place. And yeah, it's going to be a very competitive league. Oh, we can see that West Brom are struggling now. 19 games, 19 defeats, and they've only scored 4 goals. So that is definitely a maybe a club some people want to challenge. Or Graham Brown. Or Graham Brown's doing it. Is he? No, he's been. I don't think he's going to survive much longer. We now go to France. France is a very competitive league. We've got a lot of good managers there. Lyon are top at the table at the moment with Nîmes second. Nîmes were promoted last season, remember, and so they have started really well, coming currently second, and PSG third. League 2, we've got Bordeaux, who are the only human side there. Let's skip to Germany, where Burnham is. Burnham's Leverkusen side are, well, they're way ahead in the league. They're 8 points clear, no defeat whatsoever. Burnham's, yeah, very good. Leverkusen, so really, even now the race is on for second, but there are 4 Champions League spaces. Dortmund are currently second with Eric, with Schalke third and Daniel. Sandhausen, the promoted side from last season, the place where most of the youth academy people are coming from, so it seems to be working really well. They're fourth, and Bayern Munich, as we call it here in England, or Bayern München. Nino is doing a really good job. Bayern, the former Wolves boss, in 5th place. Second division, there's no one there actually. We go to Spain. Spain again has got only a few human managers. Barcelona are still top of the table, and they're pulling way ahead now. So it looks like Dave's doing a grand job there. We have got Roberto at Madrid trying to restore their fortunes. Seville Atletico, which is basically the Seville B side. They are called Seville Bill, I think. I think they call Sevilla Atletico, yeah, but they're also known as Sevilla B. I can never pronounce half these names. Tom's doing a grand job with them. Remember, they've been recently promoted, and they've only got a ground of 8,000 people, and they're currently 3rd place. That is amazing. So I'd be very surprised if he does. He should be expanding that stadium to get more people, more money. And then Real Madrid's finally got a boss. Nino Lopez has joined them, the former Rangers boss, and hopefully to restore fortunes there. Zaragoza are the only team in Segunda division, and they're currently 3rd. It's a real tight division there currently. We go to Italy, and another real tough league. You can see the 2 promoted sides from Serie B last season, Bari and Virtus, are both doing really well, 5th and 6th. Milan are top of the table, the current champions under Thiago, so Thiago's keeping them doing really well, but it's quite tight, as you can see here. Look at the points. Inter Milan are 3rd under Michael. Lazio 2nd under Patrick, so it's going to be a really good way to see how that league ends. Serie B, we've got Juventus, the shock of last season when they got relegated. They're now been taken over by a new manager, Elio, and he's going to restore fortunes, and they should be bouncing back. They're doing really well, bouncing back to Serie A. We go to Turkey next. Turkey, which was originally the league that had loads of clubs, has now only got 4 human managers left. Galatasaray are top. The runners up from last season, and the winners of last season, oh, Dennis, these are third, sorry, they are now second. I'm not even going to pronounce these Turkish sides. And let's see, where are the current champions then? Oh, current champions have not got a manager anymore. They're currently down in 4th, 5th place. Oh, he left last year. Oh, well, left after winning the championship, I suppose, to prove a point. So that's what's happening in Turkey. Now, Netherlands has got quite a few managers in now. Utrecht, really have to pronounce his teams better, are currently top of the table. They finished 4th last season. Feyenoord, the current winners, the champions, are currently 2nd, with Ajax, who finished 2nd last year, currently 4th. We now go to Belgium, and one of the big surprises is you notice that my main account is not there. I've left Holland, which was a bit of a surprise. Somehow my 4-4-2, which worked wonders last season, has gone totally shit this season. So I just had enough, and we weren't producing any decent youth players. I think the whole youth academy is random, no matter how much money you put in. There's some really good countries where youth players come from, like Sweden and Italy, but definitely, and then you get the odd one or two in other countries. But anyway, and also Stefan, I think, has already stamped his foot authority on this country. Stefan, great manager, a lot of respect for him, but he's definitely a one-man club, and he loves Antwerp. Good play, and he's transformed Antwerp. He knows the game really well. If I was him personally, I would go to other teams to prove a point that he can do it at other teams, but he must be a really big Antwerp fan, and he's leading to glory again. He was the champions last season. He's going to be the champions for as long as this Phoenix world carries on, but he will, I hope, get some competition. Like we got Bella here, who's trying to give him some competition. This side got promoted. Side will finish in the lower part of the league last year, 15th, and transformed from 15th up to 2nd. Great job. So yeah, hope Belgium goes really well. I'll show you where I've gone to. Well, my account's gone to. I've gone to Sweden, and we've got the youth academy experiment is still going ahead with Dave, and his academy are now world class. His team are mixtures of mostly 16 and 17 year olds with a couple of other players just to give some experience, but you can see how many really good players that he's got there. Problem he's going to get is when any of these players reach 23. This is another new rule that one of the new rules that Burnham's put in. When any of these players reach 23 or older, they will have a release fee. You can look at it by looking at someone who's over 23. You can pick any one of these players over 23. Let's look at this goalie. There you go, the release fee of 11.8 million. If anyone matches that, then the player could accept it, the board could accept it. It's a bit confusing on what actually happens, but generally if a side actually meets that release fee, he gets automatically transfer listed. The manager then will have to choose to sell him. If he can put his own new bid in, which normally would mean he'll put a lot more money, and then that bidding side has to match that bid. If they match that bid, he cannot drop the bid. They will then talk to the player, then it's up to the player. One general rule about transfer listed players now is that if you transfer list any of your players and then you get a bid for that player, you can't drop the bid, unless, of course, well, no, you can't actually drop the bid, full stop. But you can increase the bid. So for instance, my defender here, I'll put him on the transfer for 3.25 million. If a club bids for him, and no, this is a bad example. I need someone who's not on the transfer list. Luckily on my DT side, I've actually got quite a few players who are over 23. Like, let's look at Harry Wilson, who's actually a really good Welsh player in real life. If someone matches the 11.72 million, for instance, let's just say a club does that, he will automatically go on the transfer list. Then I could go in and put the transfer list price up to, say, 35 million if I wanted to. Then it's up to that bidding club to then match my new bid of 35 million. If they do, then I've most of the time I'll lose that player to that club. But also, as it will always happen, if you transfer list a player, other clubs can then bid in, and so that original club who's bid for this player could actually lose this player and someone else gets in for that amount. Yeah. So yeah, going back to Sweden, going back to Heartmaby, the good thing about Dave's little experiment here is that it will take quite a while before any of these players get up to 23, but when these players start hitting 23, then he will turn it into a selling club, because there's a lot of people who be keeping an eye on all the sides that are producing really decent youth players, and they will start making bids for them. I'm sure of it. I've actually got 2 at Gothenburg. That's one reason why I've gone to Sweden. I've gone to Sweden to try to get some decent youth players. I'm going to do this game differently for my Gothenburg side. I'm going to rely mostly on youth players, just like Heartmaby, and see what happens. And you can see here I've got an amazing goalie, and I'm already getting bids for him, which I'm already turning down. If anyone's going to get this goalie, you need to bid in the hundreds of millions. And I know some people out there have got a lot of money in their accounts. I'm not going to accept anything under 100 million for this player, because he's amazing. He's got a 10 rating, by the way. I've also got an amazing striker. He's only 16 years old. He's probably one of the best strikers I've seen. And again, when he eventually joins us, I'm not going to accept anything more than a substantial amount. I want to make money, and I want to invest this money into my youth players. So guys, if you're looking at these youth players thinking, oh, I'm going to nab him from Mark, please do, but don't be expected you're going to get them cheaply. I'm going to invest a lot of money into my IFK side, and you need to bid really high amounts. I know Burnham has said that not a lot of clubs have got a lot of money, but I've seen some really stupid fees going around for some players. Like I think I've seen some players listed in hundreds of millions. So I think Burnham has said that the most richest club has got about 120 million or something like that. So, but you can gain money quickly in this game. My Tbilisi side, I'm gaining money because my wage bill is under 100,000, and I'm in the Champions League final. So I'm building money fast at DT, but I'm using that money to invest in the stadium, because again, each of my clubs I'm doing different strategies. IFK, I'm concentrating on youth, and that's my main account. DT is my Lord Donut account, which is going to be my, as it is, the Phoenix Series account. And we will, when we will go back to episode 15, whenever that'll be, I'll still be at DT unless I get the sack. But currently, touch wood, I'm all right. But anyway, that is the game, what it currently looks like on November 2019, early November. The next time we'll do episode 15, whenever that will be. This could be way ahead in the past, basically. Way ahead in the past, that makes no sense, doesn't it? Bit of a contradicting statement there. Way in the past. Because next time we do episode 15, it could be 2-3 years game time. We'll go through basically some of the rules that have happened. Keep an eye on these colours, by the way, because we'll go to the Facebook post just to tell you that's all the rules are in here. This is about the release fee, which I talked about when people match the fee, and these are all the rules. I won't go through all this because there's a lot here. Thanks to Dave for reproducing this for me. There's some examples there, so please read that. This is the colouring system you see of fitness of players, and so white 90% or higher, you're safe. And train yourself with players who have been available for 20 or more games but have not featured in this 50% of them. Not being able to train due to getting enough games or need to maintain a large squad, bad idea. So they, again, if you're going to have a real large squad, which you can do now, the benefit of that is more players obviously can play and you can cover injuries and stuff like that. But the disadvantage is that you're going to have been hit by all these new rules here. Word of warning there. But I'm still going to see clubs having 50+ players, I'm sure of it. But anyway, not being able to train due to not getting enough games will make the need for maintaining a large squad a bad idea, so be reaching full potential when managing like that. So again, if you have some really good youth players but you had a squad of say 50 and these youth players are not getting games and they're not getting loan deals, then they will struggle, and your really good youth player might turn into an average youth player because the maintaining date has just not been there. So white 90% or higher, matches played safe. Orange 50 to 89 matches played safe. Watch out for those, and and planned so the code does not become red. Red players, less than 50% matches played. These will suffer in training and no gains in other two groups. So basically, if you look at my Managersim, my DT sub, I've got a lot of players in red. That means these players are going to be, they're going to suffer some training problems and skill reductions. But a lot of these players are kind of are listed for me or loan listed, so that's where I'm trying to cover it. But I will miss out on quite a few of these. Another rule change is another quick release. This is the big one for Youth Academy people. So Dave at Harmony, myself at IFK. Youth Academy players will not ask a contract before they reach the age of 18. There you go. So basically, go back to DT again. When you reach the maximum limit of 15 players, all these players will stay at your academy until they reach 18. And obviously when they reach 18 is when they reach 18 on their birthday. So I'm going to try to find one. Oops, the server's slowing down again. Yeah, I'll try to forget that. So basically when one of these players reaches 18 on their 18, you can find their birthday actually on their player screen. Then they will ask for a contract. So, oh, there we go. So for instance, on the 26th of September this year, next year, sorry, this guy will turn 18 and he will ask for a contract. So if you get a really good youth player, he will stay as a youth player until he reaches 18, which is great, which means he could develop more if you play him on the bench or anything like that, because these do not get affected by the colouring system rule, because these are youth players. But if you get a crap youth player, like for instance, no offence to this guy here, his stats are appallingly awful. He's only 16. He's going to stay in my youth academy for two more years. So that's entirely up to you if you want to keep spending your youth academy money per week to see what players you get. I think it depends what country you're in. Like for instance, Sweden and Italy do produce good youth players generally most of the time, as Dave is finding out at Harmony. But there's other countries like, well, nearly all the countries should produce at least some decent youth players. But there's a lot of countries which you get the odd one per season and that's it. So it's entirely up to you at your club if you want to invest money into the youth players or not, because as Bernard said again in the rule, youth academy, but important release, youth academy players will not ask for a contract before the age of 18. All youth academy investments have been set to 0, so the managers can decide. He set them all to 0, so if you haven't actually changed your amount from 0 up to whatever you do that now, because he's changed everyone to 0. I managed to go and do that. It's a very controversial new rule, but again, Burnham wanted to put it in. Again, sorry mate, but this is just my own personal feelings on this episode, is that I think he's made too many changes in such a short time, and I think quite a few managers do agree with me on that. But Burnham is the guy in charge and it's up to him. We've had about the assistant service, the coins that you'll see up here, and I can show you up here. That might be a thing of the past soon. Burnham is thinking that you'll be spending coins now on assistant reports on all your actual players in your squad. Normally it's free, so that could change. Well, he's also thinking about maybe getting rid of the coin system altogether, or using it something different. Like the assistant service issued coins for all players above a certain age. For instance, anyone below the age of 23 doing assistant manager coins on reports on them will be free, but anyone who reaches 24, it will start costing your coins. There's a lot of differences on many of these new things he's put in. Here's another good summary of the post which he did on the 5th of May. Please look at this. Board warnings. Again, board warnings are not going to happen if you've got such a big squad or too many players, because that yeah, that little warning did get annoying for a lot of people, but that's due to now you can have as much bigger squad as you want ever. I will be wondering who's got the biggest ever squad. Actually, I know that, thinking of memory, that before the board warnings was introduced, 4 player limits, and now it's been taken off, that Bournemouth actually had the biggest squad. So I wonder how many players Fritz has got. He's got 45 players. So for instance, he can have even more than that. I think I saw Fritz having 50 odd players once. So that's the actual this is quite a long episode because we have to catch up in 2 weeks, and also my reasons of why this is the final episode for a while. We'll go to those reasons now because we're near the end of this episode. The main reason is that I need a break. I need a rest, and for various reasons that's going on in real life. Again, I won't go into those because they're very personal, but some of my friends on Managersim know what's happened in the last couple of weeks, and it's affected me greatly. I'm thinking more about family now. I have to. I'm not going to leave Managersim unless we have another 20 odd changes in the month. But I really like this game. I'm really addicted to it. The community is amazing, really good. But I need a break. I've looked back and I've done over 100 episodes. I did at least, I think, 60, 70 of the old series. Then we had a couple of the Elsborg series, and now we've done 14, 15 of this series. So I've done well over 100 episodes. Each episode was at least 25 to 30 minutes long, so you can see how much time that has done and taken to do each episode. And thanks so much for all the support and feedback regarding each of the episodes. The viewing count hasn't been amazing, if I have to be perfectly honest with you. We've had roughly an average of 20 to 30 views per episode, which is great. I'm really grateful for people to come to watch this episode. I'm hoping everyone will like this rather sad episode. But again, it's not going to be the final ever episode. I will come back and do the odd special, just basically when I've got time to do it and when I'm in the right frame of mind to do it, because at the moment I'm not in the right frame of mind at all, and I'd rather not do it at the moment. But let's go back for old time's sake. I've nearly done a year's worth of this, so I think I do deserve a bit of a break as well, to be perfectly honest. But this was actually the very first episode. This was back in, I did do a test episode which only go on for about 3 minutes. That was just to test audio levels, but this was actually the first ever episode, and this was the most viewed episode as well. Sorry, I had to have a drink. This had, as the time we're looking at on the real date, today's 12th of May, this is 122 views, and this was before I did various little things. I even had myself there. You can see myself there talking. I haven't had the camera on today because, again, I don't feel like having the camera on. But please go back to some of these old videos and remember how the game used to look like. And it's changed even since last year. It has changed, like the world has changed for many sad reasons. So this is Managersim episode 1, the beginning. This is a great beginning episode of how to get into the game. It basically has stayed the same. So if you're a new player, hello, and you want to know how to get into the game, then please come and have a look at this episode. This gives you a good introduction of what you need to do. And this is like like the old game worlds and stuff like this. This is amazing. Yeah, it's worth looking at this actually. If you're stuck for certain things, what you need to do, then please look at this first episode, and then the couple of other beginning episodes. Some old names there as well, and you can probably hear me in the background there chatting away. But one thing I need to point out, actually, Burnham's asked me to point out, is also please look when you're on the loading screen of Managersim at the external sites here. You've got Managersim is on, it's got its own Facebook, it's got its own group. These are the magazines, please have a look at them. Burnham did quite a while ago. We've got the YouTube channel there. Obviously my YouTube channel is where the
so if you go to Germany,
game,
there's only one division, the top division. If you go to
the beginning series of the games, and yeah, please have a look at these external websites, because it'll tell you
the Italian game
what to do. And
now, if you went into the game world server,
you can see why I'm not going to do any more episodes, because I can't even think what I'm saying now. These will give you a good idea how to play the game. YouTube channel. We have got a Discord group as well, I've heard. So please keep with it. Keep with the game. Enjoy it. Try and encourage new people to play it. Again, I'm going to say goodbye to the Phoenix series for some time now. It's not going to be the end of the series. I will come back for the odd maybe end of season or something like that, or if something major's happened in the game and I need to express my feelings about it, then I'll come back with the episode. But after nearly a year, I feel like it's time for me to have a break and just enjoy the game like you other guys. But please look at my episodes if you've got any questions about the game. You can see here, this is my actual YouTube screen. You can see that there's a lot of beginning episodes here and how it first started. It's worth looking at, and you can see the dates there. June. 122 views that episode 1 had. That's the most episode that I ever had. And then we go back to the current date. These are a couple of other videos I'm doing on my channel. Please, my channel's got loads of really good stuff on it other than Managersim. I played a lot of variation games. And there you go, there's Managersim. Episode 13 starts in the last episode, 35 views, which is really nice. I even got 7 likes. The more likes the better, because that spreads the word on YouTube that you about people come to see the games. More likes on each episode means more people will be coming to my videos about Managersim, and then when they find out about how great Managersim is, then they will come and play the game. But anyway, that is it for now. So thanks again for all your support. I'm really grateful, and I will come back sometime in the future. That's Donut Donny saying goodbye.